Hey everybody, it's Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and welcome to today's story time. So I know y'all love these story times, so I'm gonna get right into it. So I was like maybe 17 years old, and I said it was time that I don't care what my mom and my dad said. For those who don't know, I come from a very strict Caribbean parents that did not play any games or hold any they didn't play no games. So we weren't allowed to do a lot of things. They were very strict and there's rules to be followed, and if you didn't follow it, you could get out. And so I was like 17, and I told my parents like I got something to say, because at this time, back in the day, they used to call it talking to someone, calling that's your boyfriend. So I was in, what was that, 11th grade? I think it was 11th grade, and I had this guy that like I was really liking. And listen, let me pause here. In a Caribbean household, let me get close so you guys can understand. In a Caribbean household, you cannot bring somebody home unless you are engaged, unless maybe you're pregnant, unless you're ready to move out. Oh, let me pause on that. Okay, back to the story. So I was like feeling good about myself, and I said, it's time I have a boyfriend. It's time I tell my parents how I feel. I'm almost 18. You remember back in the day when you thought you was 18, you thought you were really something? Well, at least I did. So I said, this guy I like, because I said, why can't I be like other girls and bring their boyfriend to the house and all of that stuff? So me and my crazy self said I was going to tell this guy that I liked. And back then, all it was we just hung out in school and we talked on the phone. There was nothing other than that, but I thought he was my boyfriend. Pause again. So then I said, Mom and Dad, it's time that I show you who I like and show you who I'm serious about. Now, I wish you could have seen the look on my father's face. My dad said, serious about who? See, in how my father was, me being the last child, especially namely a girl child, as they like to say in the Caribbean, you cannot You cannot bring anybody home unless you have a ring on your finger, a baby in your belly, or you're ready to move out. So I said, Dad and Mom, I sat them down. It was like dinner time was over, and I was like, this is the opportunity. So I told my mom and dad, I said, Mom and Dad, I'm 17 now. I wish I had a photo that I could show you how my mom and dad were looking at me at this moment. Like, who is this little girl talking to me and telling me she's 17 like she's an adult? But, anyways, I said, there's somebody that I like, and I could see and I could feel the energy like bubbling and brewing up to the surface. And I said, so it's a guy that I like, and he's my boyfriend. Now, how my mom was looking at that moment, my mom was like, boy, who? Back in the day when you said boyfriend, all your parents used to say your little friend, because that's all they were going to be. Because unless you were engaged, unless you had a baby in your stomach, or unless you were ready to move out and go on your own, they didn't want to hear anything that you had to say, because if you were in any three of those situations, you were already going to be out. So now you can say what you want to say. But yeah. So I said, I want you to meet him. I want to be able for him to come over and for you to have conversation with him. And before I could go any further, my dad said that I must stop this foolishness because uh, number one, you have no job. You don't pay any bills in here, and you don't know anything about anything. So we don't want to hear anything about a boyfriend. And if I see you with a boy, if I hear you talking about a boy, if I even see you in the neighborhood hanging around a boy, I will snatch you up. I will snatch you up, and I will snatch up the one that you're with too. So, needless to say, I never had a boyfriend come to the house. I never was able to introduce them. And just like everything when you're 17, all those things fizzle out. But I definitely was not the girl who was allowed to date anybody. And I say anybody, I mean that because if it wasn't for my father or it's my brothers, they was gonna jack him up. So that's just what it was. There was like you can't nothing until you're 18, and that's how it was for me. So I wanted to introduce my supposed boyfriend that I was talking to on the phone because I wanted them to respect him and to see what I liked about him, but they weren't having it. They didn't hear it, and they said, you better end it with this little friend because no, you're 17 and get rid of him, or you can go too." And that's how it went in a Caribbean household. There was no playing games. I wish I could say it was kumbaya, and we hung out and I had conversations with my parents and all of that. No, I could never say that. It wasn't that way at all. So how was it when you guys were growing up and you had a boyfriend? Could you actually have a boy call your house, hang out with your family? Or was it more like my circumstance where you weren't allowed to have them around and they didn't want to hear it, period? Let me know that down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video, story time, or live stream. Bye bye, guys.
Be encouraged, be inspired.